Deep within the dark, twisting passages of Nielson's cave, two experienced cavers embarked on a routine exploration. As they descended into the abyss, navigating narrow shafts and enormous chambers, everything seemed to be going according to plan, until one small mistake turned their adventure into a nightmare. In the heart of the cave, something went terribly wrong, and one of the cavers found himself in a life-threatening situation, with only the cold, unforgiving darkness around them. What happened next in the depths? Watch to uncover the gripping story of Nielson's cave exploration. Before we dive into today's video, make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. We upload daily. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and join our amazing community. Now, let's get started. Nielson's Well is a fascinating and challenging cave located in Utah, known for its impressive depth and unique features. The cave is a vertical shaft that plunges 315 feet deep into the earth, leading to a massive room at the bottom. This room is extraordinary in size, measuring approximately 120 feet wide, 170 feet long, and 80 feet high. The sheer scale of this chamber creates an environment where sound behaves in unusual ways. Communication within the cave, especially between people in the large room and those up the shaft, is particularly difficult. Whether you're using your voice or a whistle, the sound tends to fill the entire room rather than traveling upward or downward, making it nearly impossible to direct a clear message through the shaft. Nielson's Well is not just any cave. It has a rich history of exploration and mapping. From 1986 to 1988, a dedicated team of explorers, including Ken Stawley, Jim Nichols, Mike Beer, and Rodney D. Horrocks, undertook the challenging task of discovering and mapping this cave. Over 2 years, they meticulously explored the cave's depths, documenting its intricate passages and vast chambers. Their efforts helped to bring the cave into the spotlight, making it one of the more well-known and studied caves in Utah. Despite its relative discovery, Nielson's Well remains a cave that requires skill and experience to navigate. The combination of its deep shaft and the vast, echoing chamber at the bottom creates an environment that challenges even seasoned cavers. Whether you're a caving enthusiast or just someone fascinated by the underground world, Nielson's Well offers a glimpse into the wonders hidden beneath the Earth's surface. The cave's unique acoustic properties and impressive scale make it a remarkable destination for exploration and adventure. On October 17, 2020, a 25-year-old caver named Jason Wayland, along with a fellow caver, embarked on an exciting and challenging exploration of Nielson's Cave in Utah. The duo had planned a full day of adventure starting early in the morning at 9:30 a.m. Their goal for the day was to bolt new pitches and inspect some of the domes within the cave for potential climbing routes. With their gear packed and their minds focused on the task ahead, they descended into the cave's depths, eager to explore what lay below. Nielson's Cave is not an ordinary cave. It is known for its deep, vertical shafts and complex passages. After descending the impressive 317-foot entrance pit, Jason and his partner navigated through several smaller obstacles and additional pits. They were determined to reach a significant area within the cave known as Fantasy Well, which is a massive 300-feet pit that requires careful preparation and skilled rigging to explore safely. The upper sections of Nielson's Cave had been rigged with ropes from a previous expedition, which made their initial descent easier. However, when they reached the top of Fantasy Well, they found that the rope for this deep pit had only been attached to the anchor, but not properly rigged for descent. This presented a new challenge for Jason, who took on the responsibility of rigging the rope correctly. Before starting the descent, Jason made sure everything was in place. He attached the rope bag, which contained the rest of the rope needed for the descent, to his harness. This smart way of preparing the rope made it easy to come out of the bag as he went down, so he didn't have to deal with the heavy weight of the rope all at once. Jason and his partner's thirst for exploration and adventure drove them to meticulously prepare for this trip. They knew the risks involved in caving and took the time to ensure that all their equipment was in proper working order. As Jason Wayland was descending Fantasy Well deep within Nielson's Cave, he was focused on his progress down the 300-feet pit. About halfway down, he realized something alarming. There were no grommets in the rope bag, which meant that he couldn't see if the end of the rope was properly secured with a stopper knot. A stopper knot is crucial in caving because it prevents the rope from slipping through the descender, a device that controls the descent. Realizing the potential danger, Jason shouted up to his companion who had packed the rope bag earlier to confirm whether the rope had a stopper knot at the end. His companion, who was still at the top of the pit, yelled back down, reassuring Jason that the knot was in place. Trusting his partner's word, Jason continued his descent. He was about 40 feet from the bottom of the pit when, suddenly, without warning, the rope slipped through his braking hand and then through his descender. In an instant, Jason lost control and fell down 20 feet, hitting a sloped shelf. The impact didn't stop his fall. He tumbled another 20 feet, landing hard at the bottom of the pit, a total of 40 feet below the surface. The fall was brutal. Jason was immediately overwhelmed by intense pain, especially in his right foot and right hand. His headlamp, which was essential for seeing in the pitch-black cave, was knocked off his helmet during the fall, plunging him into darkness. Despite the agony coursing through his body, Jason knew he had to act quickly. He forced himself to stand up, wincing with every move, and began to carefully make his way toward his headlamp. Each step was a battle, with sharp pain stabbing through his right foot, but he knew he couldn't stay in the darkness at the bottom of that pit. When he finally reached his headlamp and managed to put it back on, Jason took a moment to assess his situation. The pain was severe, but he could still move, which was a good sign. Meanwhile, his companion, who had heard the commotion, quickly pulled the rope back up to the top and attached another rope to the end. This allowed him to descend safely to Jason's side. As fate would have it, Jason's companion was not only a fellow caver, but also a medical doctor. Once he reached Jason at the bottom of the pit, he immediately conducted a thorough examination, checking Jason from head to toe for injuries. Despite the intense pain Jason felt, the doctor confirmed that he had not suffered any broken bones, concussions, or other major trauma. This was a huge relief, as falling from such a height in a cave could have easily resulted in much more serious injuries, or even worse. Jason's survival after such a fall was nothing short of miraculous. After the painful fall at the bottom of Fantasy Well, Jason Wayland knew he was in a bad situation. He wasn't sure if his injuries would let him climb back up the rope to safety, but there was no other choice. He had to try. With courage, Jason decided to test himself and see if he could manage even a few feet of climbing. He slowly attached himself to the rope and started to go up, preparing himself for the worst. To his surprise and relief, the climbing technique he was using, known as frogging, didn't seem to hurt his injuries, even though his foot loops were on his injured right foot. This gave Jason a huge sense of relief. He felt a new sense of hope that he might just be able to get out of the cave after all. Jason was also thrilled to realize that he could still use his ponton, a specialized foot ascender that helps cavers climb ropes more efficiently. This piece of equipment would make the ascent easier, especially given his condition. With his fellow caver offering to carry his bag out of the cave, Jason started the long and painful climb up Fantasy Well. Every inch he ascended brought him closer to safety, but it also demanded every ounce of strength and determination he had left. As Jason slowly made his way up, he knew that getting out of Fantasy Well was just the first hurdle. Once he reached the top of the pit, he still had to cross the large room that led to the entrance rope. This room, the big room, was one of the most challenging parts of the cave. It was about the size of a football field, filled with large breakdowns and shifting boulders. For an injured caver, this was a nightmare. Jason knew this crossing would be excruciatingly painful. Sure enough, as he began to make his way across the big room, the pain in his injured foot flared up intensely. Each step was painful and difficult for him, as he had to carefully navigate the uneven and treacherous terrain. The large rocks and shifting boulders made every move dangerous and unpredictable. But Jason pushed through the pain, knowing that the entrance rope, and ultimately the surface, was just on the other side. It took all of Jason's willpower to cross that room. Every step was a battle against the pain and exhaustion, but after what felt like an eternity, he finally reached the entrance rope. The final ascent out of the cave was incredibly challenging, but Jason's determination kept him going. After 4 long hours in the cave, Jason and his companion finally emerged from the darkness at 1:30 in the afternoon. The fresh air and daylight were a welcome relief after the ordeal they had just endured. But the challenges weren't over yet. After exiting the cave, Jason still had a 3-mile hike back to the trailhead. Despite his injuries, he insisted on carrying his own pack, refusing to let his companion take on that burden. The hike was grueling, with every step sending sharp pain through his injured foot and hand, but Jason kept going, determined to make it back without anyone's help. When they finally reached the trailhead, Jason knew he needed to get medical attention. He went to a hospital where x-rays were taken. To his relief, the x-rays showed no definite fractures, but he was diagnosed with a severe sprain to his right ankle, along with sprains to his right thumb, left foot, and left wrist. It was a painful and serious injury, but given the circumstances, it could have been much worse. Jason Wayland, a seasoned caver, learned a hard but important lesson from his experience in Fantasy Well. He now emphasizes the critical importance of always checking for a stopper knot before descending on a rope, especially when that rope has already been rigged or stashed in a bag. No matter how much trust you place in your fellow cavers, it is crucial to take that extra step to ensure your safety. Even if someone assures you that they have tied the knot, it's worth the effort to verify it yourself. This small precaution could make the difference between a safe descent and a potentially life-threatening fall. In Jason's case, the rope he used had been employed in Fantasy Well in the past, so it was surprising when it suddenly turned out to be 40 feet too short. The mystery was solved when they realized that previous riggings of the pit had used 2 ropes, a shorter one for the initial rappel onto a ledge, and a longer one for the free-hang descent to the bottom. On this particular day, Jason's companion had removed these ropes for cleaning and inspection. When they returned to the cave, his companion mistakenly supplied Jason with only the second rope, forgetting that an additional 40 feet rope was usually used for the first section. The absence of this rope, coupled with the lack of a stopper knot, led to Jason's dangerous fall. This accident shows the dangers that can happen from making assumptions and not noticing important details in caving. Jason's experience, and similar accidents that have happened, some with deadly results, are warning signs to always be careful. For anyone planning to rappel using a rope from a bag, it is important to either pack your own rope or carefully check the rope, making sure the end is knotted. Some cavers like to run the rope through a grommet at the bottom of the bag so that the knot is still visible, even when the bag is full. Others suggest tying 2 stopper knots, one about 6 feet from the end and another near the very end, so that if the first knot is missed, there's still time to find the second one and make necessary changes. In the world of caving, where every detail matters, these precautions can prevent serious accidents and save lives. Jason's ordeal serves as a powerful reminder that even experienced cavers can face unexpected dangers, but with the right precautions, many of these risks can be mitigated. As we bring this incredible yet cautionary tale to a close, remember that even the most experienced adventurers can find themselves in challenging situations. Caving is a thrilling and rewarding activity, but it comes with its own set of risks. Always double-check your equipment, never take shortcuts, and stay vigilant in every step you take. We hope this story has inspired you to pursue your own adventures with a renewed sense of caution and respect for the underground world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating and educational caving stories. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next exploration.